Welcome back. I'm Broward County Commissioner Stacy Ritter. We're here with a coffee with Stacy. I know it's been a long time. We're going to get back in the swing of things, and we decided the first one for 2014 is going to be with our Aviation Director, Kent George, talk about what's going on at the Broward County Airport here in Broward County. So let's talk about how you construct a new runway. I mean, you know, really basic. I'm a history major, so use small words.
Well, usually you got a flat piece of ground, you go in, you put a base in, make sure you have drainage, then you come up and you put your sub base for the runway structure itself, put your either concrete or asphalt on top, put your lights in and stuff like that, and you got a runway.
Okay.
We've got a little bit bigger problem.
Right.
We've got the FEC Railroad and Route 1 that are at one end, and a 6,000 foot, 6,500 foot runway cannot meet the needs of Broward County.
Mm-hmm. Which was what the South Runway was.
Yes. Originally it was 5,800 roughly, and it was only 100 feet wide.
What, small private aircraft?
Yeah, private aircraft, some commuter aircraft, the turboprops.
Mm-hmm.
If you remember, they originally started out at 9,000 feet.
Right.
And the commission looked at it and they said, we're not going to affect that much wetlands. How do we do it? And so the stage length and the critical aircraft for here is 737 or the Airbus 19s, 2021s. And so,
which are flown by commercial carriers.
yes, all commercial carriers. We have a 9,000 foot runway on the top, on the north side, that can very easily take care of the longer stage lengths, but we needed to be able to get this in and out of here. And so after we did the design and the work, 8,000 feet is where it came up to. But 8,000 feet means you had to transition over. So we had to put in 6 tunnels. There's an extra tunnel in there in case FDOT wants to put in light rail or a fast lane or something else on that line. And the state has some money in this, about $125 million. And the federal government has $250 million into it. And then Broward County pays the rest through rates and charges. Not $1 goes from any general taxpayer dollar. Please understand that.
Your property taxes do not pay for the airport.
Not for this runway. The users of the airport pay for it. So then what we did is we had to elevate the runway. It's at 10 feet above the sea level at one end, and it's at about 58 feet above sea level at the other end. And that's a slope that goes that way. And when you're out on the runway, as you've seen, you can't see the slope.
No,
but
because it's so long.
8,000 feet long.
That it's a very
gradual slope. Mainly starts about a third of the way down the runway and then starts going up. And to the pilot,
also gradual.
Very gradual. It's 1.3% slope.
So to the naked eye, you really can't see
which is like 4 or 5 times less than the ADA ramps for wheelchairs.
Okay,
so there's an example.
And so the tunnels, we had to move the railroad tracks, right? The FEC railroad.
No, the railroad tracks weren't moved. We had to move Route 1.
Which was moved several times.
Which was moved
every time.
3 times.
Every time I drove through there, there was a blinking sign that said traffic pattern changes.
But now you have in one of the tunnels, both north and south. When we get the other tunnels done, that will be the south tunnel. Mm-hmm. The other one will be the north tunnel. There'll be the tunnel in between for FDOT for the future. Good. We have the FEC tunnel, and then we have Perimeter Road tunnel, and then at the very other end will be the entrance to the airport tunnel.
And the plane will go over
yes.
the tunnel?
Both taxiing and also takeoff and landing. So it's a complex job, but it's really not that difficult because you have engineers that have done this before. Number one, there must be 40 or 50 elevated runways across the country. For example, there's a 150-foot difference between one end of the runway to the other end of the runway in Las Vegas. There's more in Atlanta than there is here. So that took care of that end of it, and those questions that it's going to be a ski slope, which is
Right.
just, you know,
Well-
it's just, that was pathetic. It
I
just,
think people thought it was some kind of science fiction that, you know, I remember there's an old science fiction movie where this spaceship goes
Oh, yes.
on a track that goes straight up like
Yes.
this, and I really thought people expected that that's what it would
well,
be.
if
It's
you
not.
remember, the newspaper put something in the paper that showed a something like this.
Right.
And logic told you that you've taken 8,000 feet and put it into 8 inches. Okay? So what we did is when we did a briefing, we took it from when the briefing room at down the commission chambers,
Mhm.
and we ran the paper around and showed you it in 20 feet, and you could hardly see it.
Right.
Now you put it over 8,000, there's nothing. It meets and exceeds every safety standard and regulation of the FAA. They wouldn't put the money into it if they didn't. So that's moving forward. Paving has started. We're doing some of the crossfield and the holding pads, and it's tying into the terminal area. And that is the other big project that's tied to this, is that Terminal 4 Concourse G is going to go from just the little 8 or 9 gate terminal to 14 lineal gates, with 12 of those gates being swing gates, which you can use domestic to international, international to domestic.
Okay, we're gonna talk about the terminals when we come back. We'll be right back.